exercise and kicking it.
Disregard my message.
Try to make it move, I think.
They are,
Those are some very intentional people that they have.
Yeah.
have
You're ready.
I'm ready.
Mhm.
I'd like to call to order the Village of Middleville Village Council meeting for Tuesday, January 13th.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, class.
we're having.
You have something to share with the class, Craig? Rhonda, could I please have roll call?
Kevin Smith,
Here.
Steve Baldry,
Here.
Robert Bishop,
Here.
Tracy Gillespie, Richard Hamilton, John Osterban,
Here.
Mackenzie Peters.
All right, I'd like a motion to excuse Mr. Hamilton and Ms. Peters.
Second.
Am I out of order?
No, I didn't
Oh,
hear.
we have to vote.
No, I didn't hear who made the motion.
I-
You were making it?
I'm just gonna.
You're
make a
making it?
motion,
Okay,
yeah.
got you. I got Steve. You're good.
And Mr. Baldry seconded.
Yeah.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion with support. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of approval of the minutes for the regular council meeting of December 16th, 2025, and approval of bills for January 8th, 2026 for $516,053.31.
We have a motion with support. Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Steve Baldry.
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Tracy Gillespie. Richard Hamilton, John Osterban,
Aye.
Mackenzie Peters, Kevin Smith.
Aye. All right, moving on to public comment. Just as a reminder, a limit of 3 minutes per speaker. Anyone may comment on any subject. Please state your name and direct your comments to the chair. The Village of Middleville rules and procedures prohibit the village council from debating or discussing issues with the public at this time.
Hello, I'm Michelle Fry, and I'm here speaking on behalf of the Friends of the Middleville Area Community Library. 10 of us met earlier today at the library and tried to set in place some of our plans for the year. I know that Mackenzie, not being here and being our liaison from the ad hoc committee, which I also served on, so that's not who I'm representing. We don't exist anymore, from my understanding, the ad hoc committee, unless you reassign us. So I'm hoping that that is something that is under consideration unless we're moving forward with the capital campaign, having heard the results of our feasibility study. Sorry, I have a little bit of that. So beyond being here to ask you about that committee renewal or next steps moving forward for that ad hoc committee, I just wanted to let you know that the Friends of the Library this year have plans for Heritage Day Festival. We have plans for March reading support for the library and for the summer reading program. And following some counsel from Doug Powers of the DDA, after he had at the last meeting, which I'm looking at you, Kevin, but you weren't even here at the last meeting. He had just mentioned funding that the DDA has that he could fund to the library project as it moves forward. And so his emphasis for the Friends of the Library when we sought his counsel on that was just to drum up public support for the library project, which has been our goal as the Friends of the Library all along. And then also to be clear about what the tax implications are for the people that would be paying for our library funding, and what the district boundaries are. So those are 3 things that as Friends of the Library we're focusing on in the months to come. our organization has an election coming up where Katie Binsky, who's been a touch point, I know, especially with Mr. Stolzenberg, and been in contact with the council before. She was on the ad hoc committee with me. She is more of a point person with Keith Hopkins, who did the feasibility study. And she has been the president of our Friends of the Library group, but is resigning. I'm stepping up into her place. So really that's just to say that as Friends of the Library, we're here to assist in whatever the next steps are for that project, whatever support we can do. And just hoping that that stays on the agenda and we keep having one foot in front of the other. So as soon as we have that information about KDL's district boundaries, that is one of the big things that is a hang up for this project and has been from the first day of the ad hoc committee, is that because our library has always existed attached to the TK district, we do not have an easy delineation of what a new district would be for a public library existing here in Middleville. So that district needs to be created by the Library of the State of Michigan. So that's who we're working with as a lawyer from the state of Michigan through KDL and through Josh Mosey, who's been here presenting before. And that's really all. I'm gonna stick around until you get to your agenda point for Mackenzie. She's not here, but because I served on the committee, I can hopefully fill in any questions that you have that's not in your packet. So that's all I have.
Anyone else? All right, we'll close down public comment for now, and with reserve time, limit of 5 minutes per speaker, Vicki Rick on behalf of the Middleville Holiday Lighting Contest.
And I did bring something, there should be enough for everybody. Just kind of give you something to look at. This is more or less just kind of a consideration, because I am not going to do the lighting contest anymore. I'm stepping away from it. It's been a long time. I pretty much prize out the stuff out of my pocket, and because we haven't had any of that. And just to kind of maybe consider taking it on as a village because of our lighting contest. Hastings now has one. Caledonia has a lighting contest. Berry County has one. But they've seen it here. We've never had a ton of houses sign up, but it's been a boatload of fun. And in the very beginning, the DDA supported it. And we had prize packages, cash prizes, and businesses that gave gift cards. There's fewer and fewer businesses that are able to give us gift cards anymore. This year, we only had 4 that stepped up and did that. But, you know, they still were happy with their first, second, and third prizes. They had fun. The community had fun. I love hearing from people just because they say this is like old-fashioned fun. And, you know, the grown-ups were like, my kids got a big kick out of the fact that we drove around to look at the lights and we had our pajamas on too, you know, and so it's stuff like that. And, you know, we need to keep that kind of fun going. We've had so many things slip away from activities with the village. And I just hate to see it just kind of go. I tried to get an individual to take it over, but as soon as they found out they had to open their own wallet to kind of put things in prize bags and stuff, they're like, yeah, maybe not, you know. So it's a very simple process. We have it all set up through Facebook, and I put my number down. If you guys decide to do it, I'll work with somebody, you know, to just say, this is when you do this and this is when you do that. It's really, it's not that hard, but it's just a lot of my attention has been going to Serenity Village, because that's a real passion for me, working with the hospice house that's starting up next week. But so it's more or less something for maybe you guys to talk about. It would be great to see DDA come back into it maybe, and if they ever get an event coordinator, that could take something like that on, that would be a thought too. I just don't want to just put it on the wayside and just say, well, I'm done. I'd love to see someone else pick up the mantle on it. So that's why I came. I'm just like, think about it, see, if there's a way. And like I said, I'd be happy to help people, just kind of, this is how we can do it and get you going and do all that kind of stuff. So, yep, so that was it. There was money writing, I couldn't do this
You
in
beat the
5
heck out of
minutes.
5 minutes, I'm gonna tell you that.
So do you have any questions for me?
I'll let anybody else go before I go.
Oh.
Did
No,
you?
no, go ahead.
So, how many people were working with you? 0. So you didn't have any volunteers to help out?
No,
This
I
was
have
just
not.
you?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
just been me. When we first started it, we had fabulous finds. So we used a lot, people would come in, the Lions Club actually made us the big house numbers, which we don't even use anymore. What was it, 3 or 4 years ago when we had all that terrible wind, I was replacing house numbers faster than the wind could pick them up and leave, so we lost all of those. But mostly it's just been me. I created the Facebook page because in the beginning we had to hand vote. So they would go to area businesses and put their slips in of what houses they liked and all that. Now it's just a matter of you post the house, they like the photo, whoever has the most likes, they win. They can't pad it because if they go back in and like it again, it takes their vote off. So, so it's a real simple process. But yeah, so no, that's why it's exhausting because I'm running
Wow.
around to businesses and all the rest of it, so.
I mean, I just recognize that I do remember the house numbers and
Mhm.
there were a lot, it didn't seem like, it was a non-zero number. There was a number of houses that
Yes,
had
yeah,
house numbers in front of
yeah,
them. and-
oh yeah. I think the biggest year was COVID, actually. I think we had 35 houses. And this year we had 22. Again, it's never been, my thing was that I would have hundreds by this point. That did not happen, so, but it's still fun and people get a big kick out of it, so.
There's somebody in my neighborhood that every year has a fantastic light display and.
Yeah. And I love that we've had new winners over the years too, different people.
Yeah.
And that makes it fun for everybody too.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Did you have a question?
No, I just wondered if you ever got together with these other areas and had thought of maybe doing a contest between you.
Well, so what we've done the last couple years is Berry County came out with one. And I know Hastings links with them and we do. So they will have our map. So if somebody goes to the Berry County lighting contest, they see it. They can look down and see that Middleville has one. They can click on our map. I have to say this year was the first year I figured out how to make the map myself. I was pretty excited about it. I was like, yes, I did this thing, because I'd have to beg for somebody to put all the little numbers in there and I figured it out. So, but yeah, so we do try to link up with them as much as possible. Yeah.
It's fun.
It is fun.
Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Keep it under thoughts.
Got it. All right. And thank you, Vicki, for bringing that to our attention. No petitions or communications. No ordinances to debate. Going to staff reports, Craig?
Good evening. Apologize for the tardiness of my report. Got it up in front of me now. I felt like I was on death's door last week, so I couldn't get the thing put together, but I don't know, up to about 65, 70% now, so a lot better. So anyway, working through a different process for evaluations this upcoming year. Meeting with JD Eagle and our engineers tomorrow at the proposed well site. If anybody's, I don't know, I've never been to a proposed well site before, so I have no idea what it's gonna, consist of, but I'll find out. And if, I guess if anybody's interested in meeting us there, you can feel free to join us. And then heading up to Traverse for Winter Institute next week, so. Any questions on anything? A lot of good new, council education opportunities, if anybody wants to do any of that stuff too, so. Kevin had on that 5-hour video for
That was educational.
City of Lapeer, so, yeah. Sure, thanks.
JD, come on down.
Good evening. For my report, not a whole lot going on. Finally got a break from the snow for a little bit, which is letting us do some verifications for our lead service lines. Get some stuff done on our fleet that need to be maintained from doing all the snow and the Irving Road Phase 2 project. This week we're doing on tie-in, so we're kind of all hands on deck dealing with that this week. Hopefully after next week, we can put the system back online. So reservoir will be done and that will be completed on the water side. So
We are, is it, I'm sorry. Is this, related to the water being cut tomorrow all day?
yes.
I asked all the wrong people, but, when do you anticipate water being reconnected?
We're gonna have water back on at the end of the day. So crews are on site, so water's back on.
I
I'm
got
not gonna have residents
So
without
end of
water.
day.
Yeah.
So 11:59 PM.
They better not take that long. We'll have water out tomorrow for, I believe it's Hunter's Trail and Hunter's Apartments, and then Thursday will be High Ridge.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, our contractor, Georgetown Construction, they've done this many times, so like JD said, it shouldn't take.
Better
Well,
safe than
59,
sorry.
but-
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
what's
That's
that?
how you let it on.
We're gonna be ready to shut water off at 7 AM when the contractors get there. Hopefully they're there early in the morning, so they can get a good jump on this. So we're ready as soon as they say go.
Okay. Very good.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Sergeant Ware? Welcome.
Good evening, all. December numbers, any questions about December? Pretty straightforward. Year totals we had, looking at the end of that there, you'll see total numbers were down from the previous year, but you'll notice criminal complaints were higher, non-criminal complaints were higher. The criminal complaint number was still significantly lower than the 2023 high we had. And it should be noted too that we had roughly 450 less hours of actual work for 2025 and 2024 because we went that whole year without having that daytime deputy. So the 2024 numbers aren't going to match up with the 2025 one because you're missing every Saturday and Sunday without having, or every other Saturday, Sunday without having a deputy here to take complaints. So the Out County was handling those numbers. So you're looking at roughly 104 complaints that were missed that the Out County handled that would have been handled by our deputy. So those total numbers would have been higher if we had that deputy. And with that, getting on to the other stuff, staffing update. As of 2026, we officially have 3 deputies again. Deputy Levi Yonkers has moved from our night shift to our day shift. So you'll see him around town during the daytime along with myself. Then we have Deputy Skaggs and Deputy Hewitt that are now our afternoon evening deputies. Deputy Hewitt's actually on the call right now, otherwise I would have had him here to introduce you guys to him. But both come with very good experience and hope to keep them here for 2 years and we'll transition them out, I'm sure, until they get somebody else. But as of right now, we have 3 deputies again and it's fantastic for me and for the village as a whole. Moving forward, body cameras and in-car cameras has been a big topic. I still haven't heard anything from the county on what that dollar amount's gonna be for the village. But we have all the equipment. It's just a matter of, getting a few pieces of hardware installed. You may have noticed there's a new antenna on the back of this building that is for our cameras, so the in-car cameras can download to the server. And then we're also waiting on a training, which is happening mid-February. Once that training happens, everything should be live and we'll have our new cameras.
Yes.
Any questions or concerns? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Liaison reports. We're probably gonna pivot for the library. I think that might be appropriate, when that time comes, but any other liaison reports there? I being the liaison for the DDA. So Ann has taken over as the chair of that particular board. Justine has stepped down and will finish out her term through the end of this month. Did a fantastic job, even though I don't, she reluctantly accepted that role, but I think it's continued to build momentum and on that board and I think some good things. I think we're just watching them get their sea legs on kind of the new normal on how that whole organization and board works. So some good momentum to report there. I think we're going to be setting up some committees and a few other things to fill in any openings. I think we're going to end up having two open slots for the DDA at least by the end of this month. So
She goes through Feb 13, I
Is
believe,
it?
Justine's term is, yeah.
is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Maybe two.
so probably one or at least two more meetings. That is always looking for volunteers, so obviously we want to make sure that we have a nice flow of people that are willing to dedicate their time. This community certainly churns out a lot of volunteers. Just capturing them and giving them intent is challenging, but I think also there's still a lot of people that want to step up. So anybody that you know that would like to participate in the community, I highly recommend starting with the DDA, and there's plenty of things to do, believe me. And that's it for my DDA. I think Mr. Bishop is unfortunately absent, so I'd love to give you the opportunity to liaise with us and
Sure.
answer any questions, if you don't mind. If anybody has any questions regarding the, probably better if you got up to up there. I make you uncomfortable.
No, it's okay.
If anybody has any questions or in terms of your report and just.
Right. I'm pretty certain that what Mackenzie would say is that, at our last meeting, we were really just kind of concluded that we need guidance from the council for our next steps. So
Gotcha.
this is the January meeting where you're setting committees. And if you see it as that you need more information, you need a group of people to continue dedicated. We have, the Friends of the Library, the existing ad hoc members, I'm sure would continue. I can really only speak for myself. I would do that, but.
I think, you brought up a lot of really interesting points. The first being, you are still waiting on district boundaries and a few other things.
Yeah.
I don't know,
And
obviously.
the
we wanna
scope
get-
of the project too, I think was the driving point of Josh's presentation at the last meeting is that we're at the point where we're working on that, PFP, some RFP,
RFP.
an RFP, okay, the RFP in order to get quotes for a building, right? So we're not sure yet if we're partnering with the village to just build a library, or is that building also going to house the village council space as well? So we're to that point where we're talking to the lawyers about the district boundary. We know what the tax implication is for people that would have this millage set to them, the operational millage. And with partnership with the DDA, And the funds that Mr. Powers had mentioned at the last meeting, we're feeling pretty confident that we can get the remaining funding for that building from the private sector. So we're still gonna talk to Thornapple Township and bother them. We're still gonna talk to Yankee Springs and bother them, but they are, the impasse is really coming where, we're gonna stop having library access for these other municipalities unless they wanna buy in on the operational millage. So
What is that deadline?
the deadline for the millage,
When you say stop,
that deadline is really when the partnership between the school board and the public library
I see.
ceases to really make sense, which the Friends of the Library feel like that was a couple years ago. It stopped working for us. We have, the third lowest access to a library in the state of Michigan. Our community
Is
does.
that closed yet? To the
It's not closed, but we have 11 hours, I think, of access to the library in a week during the school year.
I thought they were
And
closed.
I think that they do great with the 18 grand budget that they have operationally out of the school district. That's what the library is operating now. And if you look at the budgets of other, neighboring towns' libraries, it's significantly more than that. And when you look at what we stand to have access to if we partner with KDL, because we're in this unique position in Berry County to partner with KDL, they have, tons of stuff.
Does that change the tax implication or the fundraising implications depending on whether the district boundaries are a certain size?
I do not believe, I think that it's anybody that is within the district that the library is serving,
But you're still working on that, whatever
that district is. But we can say with certainty that it would be TK School District, but potentially with trimming off other, like there's portions of Orangeville. There's, Freeport, for an example. There are a lot of people in Freeport that attend TK schools, but Freeport has a library and they pay a millage to support that library. So I don't want to speak without like knowing, because we've got concrete answers from this library lawyer. But my understanding, I think, is that those places would be trimmed off from our district so that nobody is being double charged on their tax bill to fund two libraries.
Right.
That nobody wants to do that.
Well, that makes sense. Okay. We've already committed a lot of time, effort, and energy into this. I don't see any reason why we can't continue that. I think you are correct. I think having a common goal as to where it's going is a big deal. And understanding what the rules are is a big deal. And I don't know, there's been a sense of ambiguity with that to some degree.
It's tough. We're in a pretty unique position.
Having the library committee, and I think I've heard anecdotal data to suggest that in terms of like where we want it to land and what does this mean for the township and the village, so there's a lot of moving pieces to that for sure. All of which have not been discussed at length, and certainly there's been no commitment because we really aren't sure. So, if anything, you can be assured that the library committee will still exist, but I think that it is incumbent upon us to press in a little bit harder and really help define what those expectations are and what we're willing to concede.
We've gotten to the point where it's like building specifications and getting quotes so that we have a goal for our fundraising.
Yep.
So again, with the study completed, we feel pretty confident that we can fund like a $5 million project.
Okay. Excellent. Any other questions, comments, input?
I got one. I think a lot of the onus is on us to, if we want to combine library and village hall type of thing and put some money towards an architect and what do we do?
Yeah.
It's kind of like we're just hanging out there right now.
I missed the meeting last year where they got appointed to the committee, and that was the one I wanted to be on.
Well, hey, you're at the meeting now for today appointments and there's an empty spot, so we'll take any of you.
Duly noted.
You're right.
No, I think you're right. I think that it's just the footprint is in the air. I think there's a couple of really ideal solutions, and we haven't committed to them.
Right.
Because I think that we've had to take some certain steps to be able to make one of those options even viable.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, and that
Which we
took a
appreciate. I
year.
know that.
Yeah,
Right.
and that took a year. I mean, you know, and still it's still active. So
Yes.
we still have yet to come to a conclusion there. So,
Right.
these are important talking points that I think we just really need to press in on and get definition on
Right.
what we want collectively
Mhm.
and what makes good sense financially. And I agree. I think a community without a library it's tough.
Right.
Especially of our size. I mean, I think it would be
And
a
growing.
lot of traffic. Yeah. So, all right. Well, very good. I appreciate you stepping up there and sharing that with us today. No unfinished business? Moving on to new business. It's a very complex page, lots of highlighting.
I'm here for you.
I'm very scared. Just joking. All right, so starting with new business, Mr. Nelson, thank you for traveling all the way to Middleville. And I think we can open up with our council rules of procedure discussion and have at it.
Happy New Year, trustees. Always good to be down in Middleville, and I think this is the 24th or 25th year that I've been down in the village, working at the village since I've been at Micah Myers. So proud of that heritage, if you will. So always good to be down. Steve, welcome back. Good to see you. So yeah, this is my annual, let's talk about the council rules of procedure. And to kind of frame that, you know, a reminder for council members is that the village council, and the village is governed by the Michigan Constitution, rules of the federal constitution as well, and also specific state statutes like the General Law Village Act. And so these rules of procedure are adopted pursuant to the General Law Village Act. These aren't things that you've decided, yeah, it'd be nice to have. State law says you shall have rules of procedure. You get to craft them as you see fit. However, they have to apply with Michigan Constitution, applicable state law, like General Law Village Act, like the Open Meetings Act. There are issues involving Freedom of Information Act that get implicated with your Open Meetings Act compliance. So that's kind of the backdrop. There are other state laws that certainly apply and inform, like your planning and zoning enabling acts and the like, and many others. So with respect to the General Law Village Act, that sets forth the general powers of the village, specifies, you know, how the council, composition of the council, and how you elect a village president and the like. And like I said, requires you to adopt these rules of procedure. So since at least 2012, we've had these rules of procedure generally in this form, but over the years we've made various revisions, and we just recently adopted them in December and made a couple of tweaks and revisions. So the rules of procedure, again, are intended to assist you in the conduct of your meeting and getting the business done, as well as complying with Open Meetings Act and providing the public with an opportunity to speak. It's intended to act as guardrails for your meeting so things don't run off the road, so to speak, as they sometimes do in other communities. So, they are similar in concept and purpose to Robert's Rules of Order, but to be clear, and on my advice, you do not adopt Robert's Rules of Order. You're not mandated to follow Robert's Rules. They can be used as a guide if particular questions arose. But what I don't like about Robert's Rules, and why I don't recommend you adopt them, and why I do recommend that you use them as a guide, is because they are very rigid. And not many people know them or understand them. And so people can get caught up and tripped up. And while they're supposed to assist in public bodies and organizations in making decisions and deliberating towards decisions, you can also get, they're complicated, and you can get very tripped up and waste a lot of time. So that's why in our rules of procedure that the council has adopted, we say, maybe consult it as a guide, not required to follow them. Also, as an aside, over the years, some of you have heard me talk about, we had a client who way back when had adopted Robert's Rules of Order, and they never followed them. And there was a lawsuit over an employment matter, and the person who sued the town, it was a township, person who sued the township brought up, hey, you haven't followed Robert's Rules of Order. Everything you've ever done is invalid. The township prevailed on that issue, but it was about $20,000 or so to litigate that question of whether Robert's Rules of Order applied and whether, so we just avoid all that by saying, we'll use it as a guide. So again, these rules are intended to provide structure for your meeting, your agenda, your voting, your public discussion, debate amongst the council, and interaction with the public. As I noted, these rules have to comply with the Open Meetings Act. They do. So the Open Meetings Act applies, gotta go to, I know this, but go to my notes so I don't go to anything. Open Meetings Act applies for any meeting of a public body that's required to be open to the public and in the place available to the public. All decisions of the public body have to be made at a meeting open to the public, and all deliberations of a public body constituting the quorum of its members have to take place at an open meeting. The rights of the public, they have a right to speak at council meetings and public meetings and public bodies. We have on our agenda 2 opportunities for public comment. Open Meetings Act says you have to provide at least 1. So it's great that the village carries on that tradition of providing 2 opportunities for public comment, and that they're unrestricted. Some communities will say we provide 2, but 1 at the beginning is only for items on the agenda, and the 1 at the end is for items not on the agenda. You guys don't do that. That's nice. It gives the public the opportunity to comment as they see fit. But under the Open Meetings Act, and in accordance with your rules of procedure, you don't have to just have it be unfettered. You've got those time limits that you've imposed. That's authorized under the Open Meetings Act. You can require people who are addressing the council to identify themselves before they speak. You can't, under the Open Meetings Act, require somebody to identify themselves in order to attend the meeting, but to address the public body, you can say, hey, can you provide? The other part of the Open Meeting Act that is critical is, a meeting where you're deliberating towards making a decision or making a decision. And this is where public bodies can get tripped up, where they know, okay, if we're at a, all together and we're talking about things, that's got to be at a public meeting. But when they're not in public, text messages, emails, and the like, have to be very careful not to back into an Open Meetings Act violation by having kind of offline text message deliberation or email deliberation. So a lot of times I'll talk about, emails out to members of public bodies should kind of be one-way messages, right? That say, here, we're providing information. Do not reply to all, do not use the reply to all function, because we don't want to get into a discussion about, well, I agree with this person, or I agree with that person, I disagree, I think we should do that. Because you're doing it in a text message, you're doing it in an email, guess what? You've just provided for a FOIA request, requesting those public records, those text messages, those emails. So you got to be very careful. The best idea is consider that email communication, particularly from the manager, as one-way communication, providing information. If there is an email that's sent out to all elected members, reply, individually, not to all, back to the manager in response to a question. You also have to be careful about social media posts and what you put on, and avoid potentially converting your private personal Facebook or Instagram account or something like that into a public forum. Again, it is an area that I highlight as caution is advised. Case law is still developing in those areas of when exactly somebody, an elected official, crosses the line. Again, I like to say, hey, it's no problem to say, come join us for the holiday tree lighting ceremony, 7 p.m. But saying, hey, I want your opinions about such and such an issue, and getting involved in a discussion on that Facebook page, particularly if it starts involving other members of the elected body, now are you deliberating towards a decision on a Facebook page? It's not necessarily open to the public and certainly isn't a meeting, right? So caution is advised there. But again, the interplay between your rules, compliance with state law like the Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act. Again, always keep in mind the purpose of the Open Meetings Act, the purpose of the Freedom of Information Act. There's sunshine laws enacted after the Watergate scandals in the 70s, intended to shine light and provide transparency on the activities of state and local government. And so if you just keep that in mind, your public decisions, your decisions and your documents and records are all intended to be visible and available to the public, okay? Quickly, I'll just touch on the role of trustee. You guys have all been on the council for a while now, so you know, obviously your role is to make decisions on behalf for the benefit of the village, its residents and property owners, represent the interests of residents and electors and business owners. Key to that is listening, being out in the community and listening, communicating with those voters and business owners as to what is going on in the village, but also communicating what the village has done, what the village would like to do, and also then communicating back to the council. This is what I'm hearing, community. That's your proper role. Of course, key to that is being engaged, being prepared, being present, and again, your rules of procedure underscore all of those encouraging aspects in terms of being present, be prepared, and be engaged. I will note that as a general rule, and it's stated in your rules of procedure, you're expected to vote on every matter that comes before you, unless you have a legal reason, a conflict of interest as to why you can't vote. Conflict of interest questions are never easy, and if they do arise, the best thing to do is raise it ahead of time before a meeting. Again, that goes back to your preparation. Take a look at the agenda, take a look at the materials, and you go, oh, wait a second. You know, there's consideration to vote on a contract, and I own an interest in the business that we're potentially awarding to. Maybe I should ask about that, right? Bring that up before the meeting. Then that gives the manager opportunity to give me a call and say, hey, these are the facts, you know it, or I can say, hey, this is more information that we need, and then we can make a determination so that, again, council can undertake and make progress on its business before, okay? Yeah, that's kind of the highlights and overview that I had. Happy to answer any questions. Oh, that was quick and I won't say dirty.
Cover that attendance. I do want to just get attendance. There's some ambiguity about expectations about attendance, and not only just the council meetings, but I wanted to piggyback on that to committee meetings or special meetings, or because I think those are, we adopted the resolution to get rid of our meeting, you know, the meeting of the whole and committee of the whole. So in terms of expectations on going to those special meetings, and is it possible to remote in, or like what are the options there?
Yeah, so prior to COVID, with respect to remote participation, it was a little unclear, and we would take the as a firm and as an attorney counseling the village, I would say, look, you can have members remotely participate in a council meeting as long as it's not a quorum, right? So as long as you have a physical quorum here, you could have one or two members off-site, out of state, out of town, participate remotely. But participation meant couldn't be counted for quorum, and they couldn't vote, but they could participate in a discussion. They didn't lose their right to voice their opinion on that. COVID came, and the state law changed and expressly allowed remote participation, including counting for quorum and voting, okay? For obvious reasons, right? Post-COVID, the legislature took that remote participation language away. And there's a little bit of a legal ambiguity as to whether there's any form of remote participation that's possible. I still think that the pre-COVID rules and advice apply. As long as you have a physical quorum present here, you could have one or two members. Yes, it could go to three. Remote in. They can't be counted for quorum, and they can't vote. Okay. They also say, you know, based on those pre-COVID rules, that the public has to have an opportunity to be able to hear that person. You don't necessarily have to see, so you could do a conference call on the phone. But obviously, more is better, right? So if it's two-way video, that's even better. But again, I'm comfortable telling you that, yes, if you had one or two, maybe three members, and the only reason why I'm equivocating or hesitating on that three part is you want to make sure that you can get business done, right? The more that you have physically present, the less question you have as to whether or not you've got a quorum, tie votes, and things like that, okay? With respect to committees, the law with respect, you know, so historically the village has done sub-quorum committees. This is all prior to the committee of the whole. With sub-quorum committees, generally the rule was, because you didn't have a quorum of council present, you only had three members of the council present, you didn't have to comply with the Open Meetings Act, okay? They weren't making final decisions of the council. So they were basically only making recommendations to the council. Historically, however, the village took the position that we are going to conduct our sub-quorum committees in accordance with Open Meetings Act. We're gonna have agendas, we're gonna have minutes, we're gonna have public comment, okay? That works. However, in the past 2 years, there have been decisions from the Michigan courts that say if a sub-quorum committee is taking action that essentially the village council then rubber stamps, a little pejorative, but basically just says, oh, that's what the committee recommended. Yep, we're in favor of that, approved. That committee has violated the Open Meetings Act because that committee has essentially made a decision on behalf of the council. Yes, that's the appropriate facial response to have, but there are two cases out there, Pine Brook Warren.
Yes, the one
That's the other one, yeah, there's another one. And so caution is advised.
Exclusive.
What's that?
Exclusive, right? The marijuana.
Yes,
retailer?
they both involved kind of decisions on marijuana licensing. But they both kind of indicate that if the village council does its own due diligence and the record reflects that the council has done its independent due diligence, like, okay, so the committee reviewed, let's say, reviewed this ordinance, reviewed several different drafts of this ordinance, and has recommended that we adopt this draft. We're going to take a look at all the prior drafts, and we're going to nitpick all the prior drafts, and we're going to really seriously contemplate all the other prior drafts. And then you go, boy, I really think the committee got it right. but your minutes reflect that you've deliberated, you've looked.
I mean, I guess I was just gonna add, as long as the committee's, the outcome of that committee is deliberated and open for discussion, does that not satisfy
No,
deliberation?
no, I mean, even if it's posted as an open meeting, right, you've got to make, when it comes to your, decision-making, you've got to just.
So the rest of the council has to come up with alternative,
Or just
input.
demonstrate that they have considered all of the possible options.
okay.
Does that apply not only to subcommittees? How about when Craig JD comes to us with recommendations for whatever? Does that apply to that as well, or is it just a committee that's a quorum?
So again, the cases that brought this up, they were decisions being made by a manager about approving of licenses, right? And so the courts concluded that that individual constituted a public body and was making a decision for the public body. And so that decision had to be made in the course of an open meeting of one person. It's bizarre, right? And so it's in a bit of state of flux there in terms of what the best practice is. There is a heightened, internally, we kind of look at it like, okay, that can't really mean, and they can't really mean what they just said. And that, hopefully the legislature will take some opportunity to clarify. Right now, the language talks about the public body that's authorized to make legislative decisions, okay? And so the concern is if there's a delegation of authority to an individual, like a manager, to be able to say, these applications, for example, in marijuana, these applications go forward and these do not, that could be considered an Open Meetings Act violation. A remedy then is either to post and say, okay, Craig's going to be considering all these applications on this date and time in this room. Or when he's made a decision that basically you guys are looking at it fresh and as if he hasn't made any sort of recommendation. And you just document the heck out of it that we have independently looked at all these things, every which way, and really haven't considered the manager's recommendation. So the answer is it depends, John. Depends.
Okay. I mean, so my question is, I guess that was one of my questions, is that now that I finished my first year, okay, I've always wondered in the back of my mind, when am I supposed to be debating and stuff? You saying that, I'm going, wait a minute. There's stuff, I see on the notes that it says council could approve this recommendation, or it says the council can do nothing, or it could, or like when we're looking at contract, like say for spring for the park, is that we have three options. Is that taking care of that or not? What you're saying is that we have three options to pick from?
Yeah, so I mean, like in that circumstance, when the manager and the manager's reporter are the memo recommending bringing an item to council, I mean, he's not making a decision. He hasn't made any decision. He's saying, hey, this is an issue that you guys have to decide. This is what I see are your options, and you guys get to deliberate and figure out, is it going to be one of those options? Is it going to be something else?
I know you can't answer every situation, but what if it looks like we rubber stamp every recommendation, that Craig makes, or?
I think a part of it is that we are given the packet on Thursday and have all weekend to contemplate. And much like, I've mentioned this to JD and Alec before him and Craig, for as long as I've been on the council, and is don't ever just come with one solution, just because it's, you come with three, come with, your job is to give us options to look at and say, okay, well, if we're gonna go with your recommendation, at least we have 2 additional like kind opportunities to vote, and we've done that, where the recommended vendor wasn't chosen, we went with somebody different, and because of price or because of features or whatever, but we have the ability to contemplate that before we sit before Craig and he says, my recommendation is vendor A, but we have the option to choose vendor B because we were able to read through the packet and understand the options before he made that recommendation.
Or push
If
it
that
up to
makes any
another
sense.
meeting or something like that if you want.
But then it kind of goes back to the part where even if we do deliberate, and this kind of goes back with the committee scenario, if the committee says, we looked at 15 options and we recommend these 2 or 3, or 1, that's our recommendation, you still have the ability to look at the other options. That kind of clears up what the work that the committee did and gives you the opportunity to review that data before making the decision on what the committee recommended. So it's I know exactly how you feel. It feels a little bit like rubber stamping when the Craig says, well, I recommend this, but I also have 3 other vendors in your packet, and you had the ability to review those before we made the decision, and you could have been contrary to what his recommendation is, which happens on occasion.
Is that the purpose of the committee of the whole meeting for, is that?
Well, so, I mean, the committee of the whole came out basically as a concern about,
Committees.
you had committees, right? And so somebody was on ordinance, somebody was on public works, somebody was on rec. And if you weren't on ordinance, you didn't know what ordinance was doing and recommending until you got to council. And so committee of the whole was intended to provide everybody with the same information kind of at the same time, and the ability for everybody to do the deep dive at the same time. Obviously, the problem there was, okay, so we're at committee of the whole, we're getting all the information, and then it comes time to make a recommendation. Who are we recommending to? Ourselves, right? We're not taking action other than at the committee of the whole after we've delved in and done the deep dive. Now we're gonna make a recommendation to approve this contract to the council, and we'll consider it next week at the council meeting. And so it streamlined your regular council meetings. Those got a lot shorter because there was less kind of deliberation, because it was all done in theory, at the committee of the whole, right? So that was the reason why we went to a committee of the whole, and one of the reasons why you pulled back from the committee of the whole. Well, are we really getting out of the committee of the whole what we intended? And is it better to have specific interests and assign people to those particular interests?
I think as a body, we came up to a conclusion, but then the next meeting, what it did was that we did make a decision during the committee of the whole. We made the decision, and then we forwarded it onto the regular meeting for approval.
Right.
So it bifurcated the process, where now we just deliberate and come to but we don't have that many. I mean, there's certainly topics that deserve a committee, I would argue. It might be a Christmas light, it might be the library, it might be something where, we are looking at options to deep dive on a particular topic, but for the most part, most of what we do is operational, and on occasion, when planning and zoning has, when they throw their curveballs at us, we can certainly respond to those, but it was diluting. The point of the committee of the whole, it was diluted, and it turned out to be just like a third meeting that we were doing what we should be doing during a meeting, and it just squared up a day, and now it doesn't delay the inevitable when we make a decision, if we don't have to wait another potentially 2 weeks to make a decision on a particular topic.
And then we added in the proviso that you could make a final decision at a.
Yeah,
at a committee
that just
of the whole,
became a third meeting.
And the other thing I'll note too is that I think the county started with the committee of the whole first.
Mm-hmm.
And right on the heels on that, the village moved to it.
Yep.
And then I think the village jettisoned it and the county just did.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
So I guess in parting on this Open Meetings Act stuff, what I'll say is it's a little bit in flux as a result of the 2 most recent cases. I think as long that the village continues to be in good shape by, when you have committee meetings, posting them and holding them in accordance with your Open Meetings Act. So that's posting notice, having the agenda, having opportunity for public comment, doing minutes, okay? And then the takeaway would be, if there is a recommendation from a subquorum committee, when it comes to the council, you guys have to just make sure you do your due diligence, look at everything that the committee looked at, think of what else opportunities or options are out there, and document it. And I think in terms of documentation, that's if the council reviewed the committee's recommendation, the council considered other options as well, and this was the ultimate decision. Okay.
Any additional questions or concerns, or?
I have a procedure question. When we get something from Craig, for example, look at buying a truck. And then we have a motion to approve it. According to the rule of procedure, do we deliberate what Craig brought us beforehand or after we have a motion?
I'm not gonna be a stickler. Your rules provide, right, that there's, and it's consistent with Robert's rules, right? That there's a motion, second, and then there's discussion, right? So to be able to discuss an item, there needs to be a motion on the floor. We know that doesn't always happen. I don't get too worked up about it, right? Because maybe it's like, all right, we wanna understand from Craig more about his research and options. And so there are some questions and might come from several different members of the council. And then you kind of coalesce, okay, now I'm comfortable, now I'll make a motion. All right, that's totally fine. I don't want to say, nope, gotta follow those rules. I put language in here that basically says, yeah, even if we don't follow them, doesn't invalidate any decision. Try your best. It's obviously, it crystallizes it, right? If there's a motion to approve the contract as recommended by the manager, support, now we can have discussion about that. But if you got questions, I'm trying to understand the recommendation, what you consider, that's totally fine. And then you can formulate the motion. Okay.
I refer to those as the Rhonda rules of order.
Hope I didn't just cause a problem for you.
No, it's wonderful. It's one of the best things we had a meeting about it.
They're really good training. You know, Brendan kind of.
Ask Ron, do we have the ability for us, somebody to remote be in the meeting?
We do not. We can't remote in. You would have to conference call.
Okay.
Because we do YouTube, so.
Yeah, back in COVID, it was Zoom
It was
or
Zoom.
Teams or something like that.
Yeah, we did Zoom. We don't do Zoom anymore.
Okay.
And really, if you remote in, you can't vote anyway, so it's not, I mean,
Oh,
yeah, you can't vote if you remote in.
You know, if you feel strongly about something and for some reason you can't, and you want to convey that, that would be a benefit, right, for the member who can't be present to be able to convey their opinion or feelings on an issue.
okay.
But how does exactly?
We have Mark here, so if anybody has any burning questions, this would be the time to do it. Kind of a gift to have him here with us.
Oh, that was nice.
How many hours ahead of, or days or hours do we need to post a committee meeting?
So, you know, the minimum is going to be 18 hours.
Okay.
Okay, like consider under the Open Meetings Act, a special meeting requires not less than 18 hours prior posting, okay? So you could, in order to have a subquorum committee meeting held in compliance with the Open Meetings Act, you would want to post that notice, not less than 18 hours. You can do more, not less than 18.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And
Always valuable.
I had checked with Craig, and I'll check with council if it's okay.
Can go home.
Yes.
Thanks.
Dismissed.
I had to try to use it, and got, and it wiped me out. I think I'm a little more than 80%, but, so.
Thanks for
And then, my colleague Jonathan Trump, I asked him to come down, just, again, on our dime, not yours. Just always good to see how public bodies
The whole
work.
thing on your dime?
Just kidding.
Oh, okay.
What a pleasant gift that was.
Unless I need
Thanks,
to
Brian.
Oh, okay.
further this, yes, okay, got it. Thanks.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good to see you all.
Thanks a lot, appreciate it.
Take my hand off.
Okay, we're gonna move on to 2026 committee appointments. And we are going to start with, I guess we're gonna start with the Thornapple Area Parks and Recreation Commission, the
If you
TPRC.
go to your last page, you have a cheat sheet
Oh, I have a cheat sheet.
Yep. of who's on what now.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we could probably, I guess we could go through the committees right now and just realign. I think the one thing that we have to consider, obviously, is that Mr. Hamilton will not be rerunning, and neither will Ms. Peters, so.
And they've told us that.
Yeah,
so
and
just-
they told us that.
Yeah,
I think that
It's not just
was,
an assumption.
I don't wanna.
Right.
Yeah, I hope that cat just didn't get out of the bag, but, but it does make sense to realign the committees to make sure that we are, that we have, folks in them that won't be leaving. So, right now, the Planning Commission, trustee, Hamilton is the liaison. I would make a recommendation for the Planning Commission to be Mr. Baldry, if you wish to take that role.
It was just on there.
I'd like to bring up a complaint I got recently about something pertaining to Mr. Baldry. Mr. Holzhausen says, giving back. So.
This is an effort to give him back. Yes.
He's also the guy that one-sided me into being secretary for that.
I definitely nominate you for that particular role, and I want to play nice with the. I definitely do. The DDA, I'll continue to be the liaison unless somebody else would like to take the DDA
You have to.
liaison.
You don't have a
Otherwise,
choice.
I have
Yeah,
to,
you
so never
have to.
mind. I offered that up in vain. So, the LDFA, Mr. Bishop and I are on that. That happens pretty rare, but, we're there.
Times a year.
Yep,
Thursday, by the way,
yes, this Thursday.
this Thursday.
Yeah. Thanks.
Mhm.
ZBA, Mr. Osterbahn, continue to do that.
Well, that's a call I got, that's not the DDA, it's the, which one is that?
ZBA.
The ZBA, the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Oh,
That's
okay.
kind of
Z,
as needed.
They changed how they meet now, so they will meet Thursday nights. This Thursday is the first meeting, and then there are no scheduled meetings after that until there is business before them, then they will schedule a meeting.
Okay.
The TPRC, I believe Ms. Peters is on that. I think she wants to continue to do that until further notice, right? So,
She said she could.
yeah, I think that's
Mhm.
reasonable. Wellhead protection, Mr. Bishop and I are on that. Is that meeting this Thursday too?
No.
Okay,
I would never, I shouldn't say never, but.
it's pretty rare.
They haven't met since I've been here.
No.
Might be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
At some
no,
point.
it might be, yeah.
And then the police contract, I've historically always been on that. Mr. Osterbahn is on that. Ms. Peters, if there's somebody else that would like to replace Ms. Peters on that. That's a once a year thing. Typically in the fall is when we usually, whenever your contract gets renewed.
Spring, summer,
So yeah, and we meet a couple of times. I think we meet with Dar once, just to kind of go over the details, and then I think that's.
This year would be more of a kind of review and, not necessarily any type of update for this year, but see if there's anything burning that we want
No, whatever Sergeant Ware. I always listen to him, whatever he wants. That's what I So that does bring us to the library. We've invested so much time on it. I think we need to have specific direction and make decision.
I think we both need a specific ask from the library group and then a specific yes or no, whatever, to that, whatever specific ask is, and then.
I think tonight you were very clear, like the where is, I think, the number one answer, is the number one burning question for the library committee in terms of what we can participate in. I think that kind of activates a committee in and of ourselves where we would need to make those decisions. I certainly have a lot of ideas about that. I've expressed that with Doug and certainly Mr. Stolzenberg in terms of just kind of spitballing a few ideas, nothing significant, but it might be good to at least solidify that. So at bare minimum, because I think once we give that answer, then the next question is who's going to pay for it? And I think that that's really where we're going to need a lot of, I'm going to lead with decorum because that's going to be a tough question to answer. Right.
Well, if I can speak briefly, just the outcome of the needs assessment study, the completed study, is really that the next step to take is not necessarily to continue an ad hoc committee, but to form the capital campaign.
Right.
And so that's where it's like, do we continue with an ad hoc so that we can then transition that into the campaign? Because that is going to involve pulling more people from the public into. Sure. So that's beyond really what the village's purview is of assigning. I think that becomes an entity outside of the village, and that capital
Yes,
campaign
for sure.
is different.
But you obviously don't want to form that unless there's some sort of assurance that there's something.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I get you.
But
Well, I think now, I think the clarity here is that we do need to make a decision about it, and whether it's yes or no.
So are you saying that y'all make a library committee, like three of you, like the rest of these committees? Is that what you're?
I think there needs to be three of us that sit in a room and contemplate all options and present all of those options very succinctly to this board, to where we can then all collectively agree, this is the direction that we see this going, because that we have lacked that, in all fairness. I think that is, but again, I think we've been waiting for the point where, when does it make sense to start making these decisions? Because, I think the feasibility study, the districting, all of that really those are all important pieces to this. And then I think that will help us define what this looks like moving forward. And I think we, as the village, need to have a very clear definition of what we're aiming for, because I know that there's been some discussions about cohabitation.
Right.
And there's a lot of ideas that we haven't come up with that are being presented that we have no say in. So I think we've toyed with some ideas and just kind of done a few stress test mentions during some informal conversations. It has not been formal by any stretch. And I think that we should definitely, we owe that to the library committee for all the work they've done. We owe it to the village to make sure that we are coming up with a plan. So with that, right now we have Ms. Peters. I think she'd like to stay on that committee.
That's fine.
But I think from the council side, she's certainly welcome to be part of that committee. But I think officially, we would need three people on that. I certainly want to participate on that committee. I think Mr. Baldry and Ms. Gillespie. So
Fill me in there, who did you say?
I can't chew gum and walk, so give me a second. So I think we should have, yes,
Okay,
and myself.
okay, so not Mackenzie,
I think Mackenzie can continue on that until,
So that would make it a quorum.
that's a quorum.
then I'm happy. I think we should just continue to have Mackenzie be the liaison, but I think we should have a separate committee that represents the village's perspective.
Based on the text kind of back and forth we had earlier, I would recommend just having the three of you and then just eliminating
Yes,
Mackenzie at this point.
including the liaison.
Well, you could still liaise, as if you're on the committee, but.
I think the committee will end up liaison,
That's what I'm
being
saying.
liaison to the
Yes.
library committee. So I think that will make better sense. And then we can choose whoever wants to step before the library committee at that point to deliver whatever we've deliberated. So I think that makes good sense. So, planning commission,
Back up for me, so it's gonna be Smith, Baldry, Gillespie,
Yes.
correct?
yes.
Okay,
Even if they don't we not gonna vote, or we run, they can still finish out 26, because the new person's not gonna start till 27.
Yeah, Ms. Peters will continue
our
to,
terms go till November 20.
I'll do it, okay.
but Ms. Peters will still be a liaison for the
Yeah.
library committee.
Okay.
We're just having a village-specific committee. Go ahead.
But we
I
don't,
was we were looking for direction on if the ad hoc committee was still meeting, because we were under the impression that our committee expired in August of last year.
there is no library committee anymore.
So
it expired.
unless you want us to keep meeting, which we're willing to.
Yeah, no,
Or they have a Friends of the Library,
We'd have-
Mackenzie could go to the Friends of the Library.
Yeah.
And,
Everybody that's on the ad hoc committee comes to Open Friends of the Library.
yeah,
There's no.
there's no differentiation.
Right, yeah.
So they might not need a committee outside of here separate from your committee because they have
Correct.
one.
Especially if your committees are open to the public, then we could just.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that probably is the most logical way of doing this. So keep doing your friends.
Great.
And then,
And we meet on the second Tuesday of every month at the library at 4:30. So anybody is welcome.
at 4:30,
There's enough time for a Subway and then drink at River Dog before you.
there's no time, right? Well, if I can figure out a way to get a transporter from Grand Rapids to here at 4:30, then
Oh, yeah.
I'll talk to Scotty and Captain Kirk about that.
Yeah. Beating it up.
All right, so just as a review, planning commission is Baldry, DDA will be myself, LDFA will be Mr. Bishop and I, ZBA will be Mr. Osterbahn, TAPRC will be Ms. Peters, Wellhead Protection will be Mr. Bishop and myself, police contract will be Smith, Gillespie, and Osterbahn, and then I think the village library committee will be Ms. Gillespie, Mr. Baldry, and myself. And can we just knock these?
You gotta back up one, because were you not going to talk about a housing commission liaison, not a voting member, but someone to just be at their meetings and the township?
Oh,
Didn't you ask me about a couple of different committees earlier this year, or last year? That never really came up, never came to fruition, I don't think.
So we didn't, officially form anything for the, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, the depot. It's just hanging out there right now. And then, I think that was it.
Was it not the house on the river, maybe? I
No,
don't remember now.
no,
I know the depot was one of them.
yep, that was it. And, Mr. Smith and I were talking about, revisiting, strategic plan update again this year, so I think all those things can be included in in that discussion, so.
Yes. In terms of the housing commission liaison, it's not, or it's just a non-voting member, actually.
Yeah, just someone to be, just like some of your other liaisons are, you go so you know what's going on. You do appoint board members to the housing commission. So, just so you're aware of what's happening, basically. Yeah, it would not be voting. It would just be at their meetings and report back to hear what's happening at housing at Lincoln Meadows.
We just had a conversation about this.
That's why it's on your cheat sheet.
Any volunteers?
When do
When do they meet?
They meet these, it's on your sheet.
It's the
I think it's the
second-
second Tuesday.
This meets the third Tuesday.
Yeah, third Tuesday, I'm sorry.
It's not in the morning, is it?
No, it's at 7:00 at night at Lincoln Meadows. There would be a conflict with your December meeting because your December meeting is third Tuesday. That would be the only one you couldn't attend. Well, the only one that would conflict with this. I don't know.
And that meets every month?
Yeah, they meet every month. I don't know if you're putting, I know Dick isn't here, but you don't have him on a committee anymore.
I mean, he can certainly be part of that, for sure.
I'm not telling you what to do. It's just,
I know.
he's nowhere. What is that?
He hasn't, I just
He's
took him off,
yeah.
I just took him off.
Right, he's not on anything currently.
I would say, let's have him do the housing.
He'd be a good representative. He lives in similar,
Yeah.
same, but housing, so, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think that would be fine.
He'd be good for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're gonna volunteer Mr. Hamilton that he's gonna be on the housing
And then
commission.
do you want to do someone that's going to be at township meetings? That was on the-
We did discuss that too. And this is a big deal because I think we really do need to participate with them a lot more and at least have an understanding of what's going on at the township level. We historically have been fairly opaque with decision trees and what their initiatives are. And I think as a measure of goodwill, we discussed it with Eric, and I would love us to participate at the township level. They meet, I think they meet twice too, but
They meet
No.
once,
Yeah,
Oh, do they meet?
First Tuesday.
Second-
Monday.
second Monday.
Same as school board.
Yep, same as school board, yep.
Who would be willing to do the township?
What is it?
They meet
First Monday or second?
Second Monday.
second Monday.
They just had a meeting
7 o'clock.
last night.
We try to burn those pretty quick too. I mean, it's not like, those aren't very long meetings.
No, I've sat in on some of them. I could do that.
We are at it.
I know Eric and
At the
Rusty
township?
Log and some of them.
Yes, yeah. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna have Mr. Baldry do that,
That's fine,
if you don't mind.
that's fine.
That would be much appreciated. That's a big deal, I think, for the long term. is to- All right.
If you ask nicely, you might be able to get on their agenda. You know,
You're
kind
not
of
going to
like,
vote though.
no, kind of like the county commissioner representative is there every month, so.
Yeah, and do a fill-in.
Okay.
And I think, we have things like the trail is a big deal. That hopefully will uncork this year, especially if we get funding. And we want to partner with them on an extension.
Housing initiatives that are coming down, they want to be informed of that stuff.
As well as, we have now this new well that's going up and they're definitely involved in that. So we have a lot of crossover and I think they would benefit from our feedback as well, so. Okay, did you get all of that?
Yes, so I'll run it through you again, because you do need a motion in a second. So
Do you want to do them individually, or can we
No.
just agree to agree?
we can just do all of them, and then I will make a note in the actual minutes of what they all are.
Okay.
So so your motion is gonna be, planning commission is Baldry, DDA Smith, LDFA Smith and Bishop, ZBA Osterbon, TAPRC Peters, Wellhead Protection Smith and Bishop, police contract Smith, Osterbon, Gillespie, library Smith, Baldry, Gillespie, housing Hamilton, and Thornapple Township, Baldry.
Could I please have a motion for
Okay, motion to do all that.
To do all the things,
Yeah,
since now that Mark isn't here to,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Support.
We have a motion with support. All those in, any further discussion before we go on? All right, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. We knocked out a lot there. That's great.
Can you do the, Terry's Bank, that's for Dairy County, right? That's not to us. Is that why they're separate?
We are, that is not.
Yeah, okay.
Moving on, did we want to move on to the Thornapple Parks and Recreation Commission appointment?
Sure.
Okay,
So you have an application to reappoint Mr. Tom Hamilton. He's the only applicant, I believe, that we received, so.
He is currently on there
He's
as
true.
well. Yeah, well, he expired December 31st.
okay.
He has been on there for a long time, he's been the treasurer for a long time, so.
I think that just would require a motion.
To make a motion, we approve Tom Hamilton to the park. Support.
We have a motion with support. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to Mr. Ray Rickard.
Yes, so we recently hired Mr. Ray Rickard as new code enforcement officer. He currently serves on TAPRC, recently was just appointed. It's up to the council if you wanna still have him serve as that. I don't see personally, any conflict there if you did. But just wanted to, give you the option if you wanted to go a different route with that. So, TAPRC doesn't really conflict with any type of code enforcement or anything like that. If something did come up, we could handle it, or, make you aware of it. So.
Motion to approve.
You just need a general consensus that you're all okay with it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I certainly have no problem with that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, personnel policy update.
So a little, with the new Earned Sick Time Act, we updated our personnel policy to reflect the law as it was written. We did not, during that time, have language in there that offered employees the option of using said earned sick time for instances when we closed the office, for example, during Christmas and New Year's, and or if we had inclement weather, we had to close the office or anything like that. So this would provide that option for an employee to use that for such purposes.
And then in theory, that accrues to, and I'm rounding up.
120 hours.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
per year, right?
Yes. They earn 72 hours and then you can carry over 48. So the total at any one time you can have is 120 hours.
Right. Motion is in order for that?
Their maximum is 120 hours.
The maximum they can hold at any one time, that they can earn 72 throughout the year and they can carry over 48 unused from, December 31 until January 1st.
I will move to update the sick leave language within the village's personnel policy as recommended by the village attorney and attached.
Motion with support. Any further discussion regarding the sick time accrual and carryover update? Do a voice.
I had a roll call on there.
Let's
just
do a
because
roll
it was the
call. I
policy.
like roll calls.
Okay. Mackenzie Peters, Tracy Gillespie,
Hi.
John Osterbaum,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Richard Hamilton, Steve Baldry,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to the village manager contract. This is an amendment to Mr. Stolzenberg's contract that aligns him with the same benefit language, basically.
Correct. Up until this year, I had always taken the village's insurance, so that was never an issue, but now we're taking my wife's insurance at the casino, so. So we learned as we were reading through it, like, oh, wait, we increased the amount that in lieu of that was offered to the rest of the employees, and should probably make it the same for me, so that's why it's in front of you.
I'll move to approve and amend the village manager's contract to coincide with benefits language within the collective bargaining agreement and village personnel policy.
Support.
Go ahead, everyone.
Motion with support. Any further discussion? Okay, it's been a banner year for you. Roll call, please.
John Osterbaum,
Aye.
Richard Hamilton, Mackenzie Peters, Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Steve Baldry,
Aye.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
The last of my cleanup items.
It's Craig Stolzenberg out.
Apparently, just if council sees fit to allow me to roll over 17 hours that I didn't use last year. I tried to do a better job of using all my.
Do we not have a rollover policy for?
Yes, it's subject to the discretion of the village manager. However,
You are the village.
and I have to present it to my superiors and everything that happens. So that's why it's in front of you.
I'm assuming you can roll over your vacation hours.
If he lets me,
Has he ever not let you?
no.
That was a key question.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a sticky wicket. You gotta have enough for the end of the year, but yeah.
I mean, just taking a step back, it seems like most companies have a policy that say, hey, if you don't use your vacation, you can roll over X number of hours. No.
No, a lot of companies are getting rid of that and saying you must use your time within the year. And they also say things like, well, since it's the holidays at the end of the year, we're not approving vacations. So you have to use all of your time up by November, which means leaves you no sick time for December when you're going to get sick. And so there's a slight problem in company policies where they disincentivize proper use of time. So unfortunately, you're incorrect. That it has gone.
It's not a blanket, yeah.
Yeah, it has gone a different direction.
Mary retired from, Mary retired from, if you didn't use your vacation, you lost it.
Period.
But we had separate PTO days and vacation days. But the vacation days you couldn't.
Now it's all the time bank.
Yeah. Well, I guess at this point, I mean, this is all good discussion. I mean, I work for a company that rolls over 1 week, I think, is what we do. So,
I move to allow the village manager to roll over 17 unused vacation hours from 2025 into their 2026 vacation time bank.
All right. Well, after that further discussion, roll call, please.
Oh, wait, you guys were discussing, I didn't hear the
Oh,
discussion.
well, yeah, I mean, I guess we did do the discussion.
I guess the only thing I'm wondering is that would we better to put it as policy either way? In other words, instead of making Craig or even Rhonda have to go to Craig and say, okay, I want to roll over my vacation time, would be a better use of our time, everybody's time, to say either create the policy either way. Is say, okay, yes, you can roll over your time, or have a discussion, as of, maybe we could do a discussion and say, okay, well, it's been this way now, but let's look at 2027, say, okay, let's create a policy so it doesn't have to come either way.
I think the policy's pretty well written where it, allows some leeway. Like, I don't want somebody having two full weeks of unused vacation. I don't want them to use it throughout the year. Like Mr. Bishop said, try to get it as early as possible if you can, but, and if it's around Christmas or whatever, get the request in as soon as possible, but also be reasonable, when we've got people that have a couple hours here or there, that they, just ran out of time or whatever. And,
I only rolled over 10 and a quarter,
right.
so.
How much vacation did everybody get? I don't know that part.
I get 160 hours. It depends on
Depends on your tenure.
how much time you're here, but most 2 weeks.
Or limit, I don't put a limit to,
The only
I
one.
can't imagine Craig would want to say, I want to roll over 160
No, the
hours.
only time it ever comes to you is if it's me. Everybody else comes to me and then
I think he's just saying let's add it to the contract in general, like you roll over a week, up to a week or whatever at the end of the year if you have it. Right? Is that what you're saying?
But nobody has a contract with Craig.
I think as a given policy, I think what I'm hearing is there's a lot, there's nothing written, and it's just at the manager's discretion to approve for employees versus
Gotcha.
what if we just had a policy and then Craig wouldn't have to come up here and say, can
That's
I
what I'm
please
saying.
move my stuff over? Either we agree that is a sound policy that we can roll up to X number of hours into the next year. Or we just say, you use it or lose it. I mean, I think Mr. Bishop was very clear in his experience is that they just don't do that.
Right, they don't do
And
that.
Mr. Baldry was the same. So what's fair? I mean, I feel like our contract with you is quite generous in general.
Is it in the union contract though? Is there, the union contract probably has a policy?
It refers to the personnel policy. I can't 100% remember if it's, there are limits that what they can roll over.
I think my understanding, that's where it came from.
Mhm.
The unions have always,
They
always let you roll over, or that's in part of the contract. So what like he was talking about, a lot of big other companies follow that, but now they're saying, wait a minute, we can't keep following that policy. So I guess my question would be, I guess it's not in place yet. So I guess I would be okay to approve this time, but maybe we should, not knowing the procedures, maybe create it for 2027.
Yeah, we can include it in the next
Okay.
contract update for next year too, yeah. And it makes any difference or not, but we've got goal setting sessions with my wrestlers that I coach and so I set my goals also. My number one goal is to use all my vacation time this year. So it might not even be, come up for discussion anyway.
So how-
The whole idea of vacation is that you get a break.
Yeah.
And you don't hit burnout.
Exactly.
And that type of thing. That's where I caution against not using it.
Yep.
Same.
I guess, Kevin, I have a question. So in my mind is that, so let's say we say we approve this request, but can we tag that along with, how do we tag along? Well, but we'd like to create a policy for next year. How does that work?
Then I can say that we can withdraw the motion and say we would like to make a new motion to approve the 17 unused vacation hours for Mr. Stolzenberg on the condition that we have a policy in place by the end of this year for next year in terms of what that looks like for rolling over hours.
And that would apply not just to Craig, would apply to.
I'd like to see it for everybody. I
Do you
mean,
need that in the form of a motion, or can you just vote on
I can
this
just
and direct
bring-
Craig
bring,
to bring something,
Yeah, I can bring
forward.
an amendment later in the year,
not necessarily tie it to his 17 hours?
right?
I mean, clearly you can
Yeah,
do whatever
because
you
we're
want,
also
but
gonna wanna, I mean, for everything like this, we always get the legal representation involved, and why would we wanna tie up his 17 hours of vacation?
Right, no, I get you.
Well, that's why I think.
So it should be a separate item.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, that's good.
Well,
good
especially
advice.
he's already doing the other employees,
Yeah,
you know, this is only for him,
yeah,
you know, and.
this is just effectively
I
oversight.
don't wanna muck up the other process.
Yeah,
Very wise. I agree. All right, well, we have a motion with support to roll over 17 unused vacation hours from 25 to 26 for Mr. Stolzenberg. Roll call, please.
Robert Bishop,
aye.
Tracy Gillespie,
Aye.
Richard Hamilton, Steve Baldry,
Aye.
Mackenzie Peters, John Osterban,
Aye.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we do not have Ms. Peters here, so we've discussed the library. So in your packet, you have boards and commissions, draft minutes from the DDA meeting of January 6th, draft meeting minutes for the planning commission of January 6th. We also have informational items and correspondence. Is there any public comment? Hearing none. Moving on to final council comment. We'll start with you, Mr. Osterman.
I'm just looking for my second year, and hopefully I get more involved in the learning process of first year, so we're looking forward to it.
Ms. Gillespie.
Happy New Year.
Mr. Bishop?
Part of Mr. Holzhausen's, request or comment was that you're a certified citizen planner, and that's why he wants you back, so. So you did it to yourself.
I knew I should have took it.
Congratulations on that, by the way, and, that's all I've got. Better you than me?
You know, I took that because when I didn't get back on the council, I went to the ZBA, because I'd been on the ZBA before. And Doug Powers brought up that we needed some training, you know, and so on, in order 2-year requirement. And so we kept looking through it, and finally there was this one in Muskegon. You go every Tuesday night for 6 weeks, you're there for 3 hours, and it's done by Michigan State University. And it makes for a long night, but about half of it was about ZBA content. And then the other half was municipal planning and that type of thing. It was very interesting. And so I went through it and got my certificate and stuff, but I didn't know it was gonna come around and bite me all this. And then I was on the planning commission until I come back on the council. So the merry-go-round's gotta stop here.
You're home.
Yeah. You just wait till I see Jason. I would just like to compliment DPW, keeping our streets clear. Everybody had good holidays because of it. As well, I'd like to compliment Sergeant Ware. We had a nice, quiet holiday, that type of thing, and you guys did a good job. Like, tell everybody that works for you the same thing. Other than that.
Happy New Year. Welcome back. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve the community, and again, banner year for 26. I think we have a lot on our plate. Thank you, DPW. I want to just thank you for the gift of being able to get into the River Dog without having to walk over a foot of snow. So, wow, that was really good. And a lot of people have commented about that. And I just want to pass that along. It's very much appreciated.
We'll pass it along to the ones that get it done.
Yeah, that's a game changer for the downtown for sure. And other than that, thanks for an extra long meeting.
One, just quick, I forgot to mention, we do have the workshop for the Kellogg Crossing TIF, that Mr. Baldwin requested, ahead of our next meeting. So 5:30 workshop before the 27th regular meeting.
And if I'm the only one, I apologize to the rest of you. But I was not gonna vote on that until I got some answers.
We invited members from the county to join us. If they show up or not, I don't know.
This is the vendor conference.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to participate in that meeting.
Yeah, if you really read through this proposal, there's some questions.
There's a lot.
Yeah. Yes, so with that,
When is that?
5:30 before our next regular meeting, so the 27th in this room.
So that, I know my comment time's up.
It's called a Kellogg Crossing, but it's the old vendor
One of my concerns.
parks property.
Is that I appreciate Steve bringing that up, because I'm sitting there going, okay, yeah, I open up the package Thursday or Friday, or even on Saturday, okay, sometimes I'm busy. So I opened all that and going, okay, what does this mean? I mean, what, and,
Yeah.
you know, I mean.
I got several hours of research into that already. And I had to ask the powers to give me table 2, which is the payback that they're projecting on it. And I had to have him blow it up so it was a paper I could read. It was the smallest font in this whole thing. I couldn't begin to read. And I had good reader glasses, but on my electronic glasses, they can like really go like this. Still couldn't. I didn't read.
I think also that is the benefit of having Mr. Baldry as our liaison, because this is the kind of information that we desperately need in order to make informed decisions about that. And that's a big deal, by the way. One that I'm not in favor of, for sure, just to throw that out there, but I'm glad we're gonna have a conversation about it. And with that, I believe a motion is in order. Unless, Rhonda, you have something.
I don't think I do today.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
We have a motion with support. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. I think, you know,